Oh, were you?
He has time.
He's
Off
got
the
him.
left side. Dobbs is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ken and Ken in the morning. How you doing today, Ken?
So two Packer fans and a Bear fan walk into a bar. Good morning, guys. Hey,
Morning.
missing Dominic today. It sucked. He had to work yesterday. Today's a scheduled day of work. I see the video clip and you see Dom smiling and laugh like, yeah, we need some Falcons talk because they got talked about a little yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, good morning, guys. It's a Thursday. God, the week flies. We're coming up on the second weekend without NFL football. We're still breathing. Rob, you're still okay, right? You're all right over there?
I'm hanging in there, man. It's tough.
I mean, I guess pretty soon we'll have some USL. What was it now? They're calling it UFL, United Football League.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
The combination of the other two, which I thought was smart.
Definitely. Neither league was really doing too much on their own, but combined them, combined them, I definitely think was the way to go. Because if we're gonna have a developmental league, which that's what it pretty much is you might as well have a developmental league, not two ones competing with each other.
Yeah,
I don't care.
It's already a little lower quality product to start with, and now you're splitting those guys.
Yeah, but if it promotes football and it promotes, like you said, it's like a farm system on the inside. The more the merrier. I don't care where a guy's talent comes from, as long as he's got talent and he's.
Well, I mean, there are a couple guys who played in those leagues who are in the NFL. I mean, Dallas's field goal kicker, for instance, came from those leagues. And then you got some guys like McCurran, who's the quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks. He's an NFL guy, and they asked him, "Do you want to go back to the NFL?" He said, "No, I just want to do this. I want to play in this league. My kids can watch me. It's more for him, family friendly than the NFL is, but he gets to keep playing, which is what he wants. So it's good for players too." And it's interesting. I think he's the only guy. Granted, in the NFL, he wasn't a banger, but I mean, he's the only guy I've heard who has shown a preference for playing in this smaller league, just because he's like, I don't care about the money. I just want to play. I want my kids to see me play. When I was in the NFL, they were too small, and he's still really good, and he helps other players develop, like you said, Rob. He's developing talent.
Develop the talent. I don't really care where it comes from. I mean, if you get the opportunity to show out. Let's go.
Because we get guys like Geno Smith, right, who have in year 9 of his career has a big year, right? Was a journeyman. And we think about the NFL, unlike the NBA, unlike MLB, unlike the NHL, and unlike the MLS, unlike European soccer, doesn't have a farm system. We've got semi-pro leagues across the country, but let's face it,
I was going to say the closest we would have to a farm system would either be the arena football leagues or even Canadian football, because you see us occasionally poach guys from there. But even
college, isn't college?
Well, I mean, but post college, I mean, all sports.
College is the major pipeline.
In the U.S., we all have that. But once their college day ends and they're not drafted, that's it. And you got guys who, let's face it, we have seen enough undrafted free agent rookies who have made it big in the NFL. Or made it in the NFL. Maybe not big, but made it in the NFL. Jack Sanborn for the Bears. Badgett for the Bears. Adam Thielen being one of the bigger names, right? I mean, every team's probably got 2 or 3 unsigned, undrafted free agent, on their team. And and then we're starting to see more guys getting pulled from Division II So there's a ton of talent out there that obviously they miss a lot of, because with all the, I mean, you can only, you can only see so many players as a scouting team. They can only go to so many universities and colleges and watch so much tape. So how many players do we miss? So this is a great opportunity for some of those players to maybe get unfairly overlooked in the process to come out and do something.
Well, these days, man, you can put yourself a hype video together, and if it goes viral, you just got to get it out there, bro. That's it. Put your skills on tape. A lot of guys do that. They do their own videos.
My son does that. The only reason my son has social media, and that kind of a segue into a topic I don't want to talk about, but we kind of have to at least touch for a minute, is my son, his social media is, as far as he has an X account and he has a Instagram account literally just for football posts, like posts of making catches, blocks, whatever. And there are a lot of players who do that. And then of course that brings us into the, oh my God, Justin Fields unfollowed the Bears. His time in Chicago is over. It was funny because CJ Stroud also unfollowed the Texans, right? You didn't hear it. You saw there. I saw a couple posts on it, but no one was like, "Oh my God, CJ Stroud's leaving Houston," because he. But I don't know if you guys saw it. I think probably all seen the quotes from the clip, but he was on the St. Brown brothers, their podcast, and it was a fun show to watch. The NFL guys talking about and they talked about some funny ass stuff too. Don't get me wrong, they were diming each other out, man. Like Fields was diming EQ out on his eating habits. They were diming each other out on dating habits. It was hilarious. Anywho, of course, they asked him, "So, dude, what's up, man? Like, why'd you unfollow?" He's like, "I'm going on vacation. I don't want to have any football on my feed." He goes, "I unfollowed the NFL too. No one's saying I'm quitting the NFL." So he's like, "I'm going on vacation. I'm tired of seeing all the stuff on social media because I get tagged in everything, right? And I'm just done." And he was laughing about it. He's like, "I don't understand why people take social media so seriously." I mean, that's a generational thing. I mean, he just doesn't care. He's like, he likes to be able to talk to buddies and stuff like that, and communicate with some people he likes, but he's like, it's not the end all for me. But these guys act like it's.
That's just like when the fans find out that rival players are friends. Like, they expect them to hate all these guys when most of these guys either work out together, went to college together, they've known each other most of their lives. Of course, they're going to be friendly off the field. Yeah. Now, if you got two rival guys sitting there being all buddy during the game against each other, then I can see bitching about it, because at that point, split it.
But they are like, they'll kill each other. They're like, okay, it's like I see. I understand it. It's kind of like being in the military in this regard. So like, you'll get two guys from opposing teams, and they will murder each other in the game. Like he'll get leveled by his buddy, and his buddy will just pick him up, say, "Hey, we're going to get a beer later." "Yeah, we're going to get a beer later." "I mean, hey, nice play." "Yeah, nice play." And then they go play. So they will go at each other in the game, but after they knock each other's heads off, I mean, I like Facebook user. I don't like posting up Facebook users. I was going to say the same, but Jordan Love and Fields are friends, and actually something they're good friends. They work out together. But you know how that happened? Because Justin Fields is also good friends with. Take a guess who? A-Rod.
Oh,
him and Rodgers are buds.
Oh, see, I didn't know that him and Rodgers were buddies too.
They were talking about it in the podcast yesterday. They were talking about, he's like, "Oh yeah, when I first came to the league, Aaron told me this, that, the other, and they're all buds." I'm like, but it makes sense, because look, there's about 3,000 players in the NFL. For quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, it's a very small fraternity. Quarterbacks in the league, period. It's about 64 quarterbacks in the league. It's a pretty small fraternity. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, people were like, when tight end university started, they're like, how can all you guys be buddy and help each other out? It's like, because it's a small fraternity. There's maybe 40 of them, 50 of them in the league. I mean, it's a small fraternity.
This is a team sport, and that's individual. That's something individual. That's why I say I think it's good, because I mean, these guys. I mean, just because you're helping each other out, when you go to your prospective teams, then it's a whole different thing. It's a different chemistry with that quarterback and this quarter. You know what I'm saying? So, I love it all. I mean, you know the story between like when Jordan Love's first game starting, his mom surprised him and showed up. She was at the top. So when she came into town, he called for the very first game against you guys at week 1. He called Fields to get tickets for his mom. Yeah, and Fields helped him out with tickets. I mean,
I remember that story because then after the game, he said, "Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have gotten her such good seats or something like that." You know, they made a joke about it.
She was way up in the nosebleed. They put her on. I mean, she was leaning against the top wall. She was against the wall at the very top of the stadium. Like, I mean, I was like, and that was cool of him to get his mom tickets for the first game. That was really cool.
They all do that. It's a small fraternity. Yeah, they'll try to kill each other in the game, and then they'll
well, quarterbacks don't play against quarterbacks in the game. I mean, Love's not playing Fields. Love's playing their defense, and he's playing our defense. You know, so it's not like they're not butting heads. You know, so no reason to hate each other.
Yeah. Oh, let me bring Joe on the show.
Hater Nation, Raider Nation, whatever that is.
Yeah, there we go. Knocking on my door.
It's Raider Nation, Rob.
It's Hater Nation.
Give me 1 second. I'll be back.
Raider.
Joe, you're my favorite. You're my favorite football fan to talk to anyway. Seriously, I don't care that you're a Raider fan. You know, there's some guys you just, you don't, but you're not the annoying Raider fan. I mean, I bet you probably could be. I mean, we all could be. But.
Absolutely. Joe and I always have good talks about football.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe's good.
It's because, I'm a Raider fan, but I'm even more, well, I wouldn't say even more, but just as much as I'm a Raider fan, I'm a football fan.
Yeah.
So I like learning about other teams and stuff, because it helps me to know, or it helps me to give me a chance to be like, okay, what is this team going to do this year? And why, how can that impact my team? Like, are they going to be going after the same free agents? Are they going to be, going after the same draft picks, and plus, I get into the storylines too, I mean, the NFL, let's be honest, the NFL is one big soap opera,
Oh,
yeah, pretty much, bro. It pretty much is.
But believe us, we get
divas everywhere.
We as guys, we're like, it's, we try to act like, well, it's a sport, but it's like, it's a soap opera with pads, It's like if women were to watch it too, they would get into it with violence. It's a soap opera with violence. It's like Breaking Bad. You know what I mean?
Just think, last season we had somebody actually die right on the TV. Hamlin. He literally died on in front of all of us. So,
and then he came back to life, and now he's back on season 2.
Yeah.
And now he's back on season 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
hey, good morning, Joe. Sorry I had to bounce. Long story short, we all got to
shake it off once in a while, Ken. We all got to shake it off.
Dude, no. Long story short, my wife got I got a Puerto Rican wife, man. When she gets mad, and she got mad at the trash company the other day, so she canceled the trash company, got a new trash company. It was a guy dropping out the trash can. Well, then he's a Saints fan, sees I'm wearing a Justin Fields jersey, and he wants to talk football. I'm like, dude, I'm on a podcast. We're live right now. He's like, oh yeah, but Justin did. I'm like, dude, no, seriously, thank you for bringing this up, but I'm live on a podcast right now. Oh well, but Justin, like, dude, just watch us on the podcast.
Everybody wants to talk
right
Justin. Now. See, everybody wants to talk Justin, Ken.
I know. Well, maybe
even the trash man, you just proved it.
I know. Well, no, he's a big Saints fan because he's like, maybe he'll come to New Orleans. I'm like, nah, dude, he ain't coming to New Orleans.
Now we're gonna say New Orleans ain't even on that.
Is he talking trade proposals? Is he like, hey, man, I got a tip for you?
But you know what though? It goes back to what we were talking about. Before I got called away, and right as I brought Joe in, it's like every year there's going to be some quarterback that's going to be the talk of discussion because of a contract or the draft or whatever. We've seen this recipe now, and it's funny because it's nice. I mean, a lot of people like Justin Fields, right? A lot of people like him because they want to be traded to their team. So it's just always funny to watch this. And then these guys, they talk about amongst themselves, and they're just like, I don't know. In one way,
or Ken, let me ask you this: wouldn't you just want Poles to just come out and say, "Look, we're just fucking not trading Fields. Just like say, look, he's our guy, or he's not our guy. Just fucking get it over with and be done with it."
It sure would go a long way.
Yes and no. Yes and no. You know what I mean? There's a reason for the no part. Yes, because then I don't have to talk about it anymore.
Nick, look at Nick's comment.
Yeah. That's a good one, Nick. I mean, in one way, yes, because then we don't have to deal with this crap anymore, right? On the other side, though, no, because if he is trying to flip the number one trade to 2 or 3, it having that air that we might want Caleb, whoever out there, gives him enough. Because look, if they both, let's say if Washington knows that we're not going to take Caleb, and we're definitely taking Marvin Harrison Jr., then why?
There's no incentive to trade up.
Yeah, exactly. So I think
he has to keep it close to the chest. Yeah, I get what Ken's saying. It's strategy, It just sucks
for. What does that do to your
Fields.
quarterback's confidence when you don't have leadership?
Do you think if Poles decided that he's going to keep Justin Fields, do you think that he hasn't brought Justin Fields into his office and is like, "Look, dude, I got to play the game, but you're our guy, but just know, you're going to hear a lot of stuff, but it's part of the game. We're trying to get maximize these draft picks to try to put some weapons around you."
And
now, if Justin Fields hasn't been pulled into the office, then
I think he has, because even Justin played the game yesterday a little bit, right? So he said, "Look, I just took my Insta and all that off because I'm going on vacation. I'm tired of hearing about it because everyone tags me on it." And it was funny because a second he says that, he goes, "Oh, but Amon says, but dude, you're still following Bleacher Report." He's like, "Yeah, but that's because it's hockey and it's not football, right?" So he played that off, and he goes, "I just wish they'd tell me if they're going to trade me, but the thing is, but the way in which he said it though wasn't like a pissed off voice. It was almost like he was laughing as he was saying it. Like if you read his body language and everything else, he's like, yeah, I just got tired of it. And if they're going to trade me, they're going to tell me. I just wish they'd tell me. But dude, he already knows, because he was kind of laughing about it as he said it. And he knows it's the game. And he's like, I'm just turning socials off.
What if he's secretly wanting to go out of there? What if he's like, I wish they just tell me, because maybe he wants to play for the Raiders. Maybe he wants to play. I mean, there's some spots out there, bro. I mean, New Orleans.
They asked him, and he said, dude, I want to stay in Chicago. I want, if I can stay here forever, I'll stay here. And they said, what about Atlanta? He's like, well, and then he gave an honest break. It's Atlanta's got a nice team. They're probably short a receiver. Like, he gave an analysis. And then some people took that too, right? He's from Georgia. Yeah, he goes, dude. And actually, one thing he said about going to Atlanta is like, it'd be hard because I had everyone blowing up my phone wanting tickets. So he said that right off the bat. Like, I'd have everyone blowing me up.
Yeah, I saw him saying that.
And then he started talking about
but I'm just saying that to me, that's nothing. I mean, if you're a $1 million player, you got people to handle that shit. Somebody get
but I mean, you can also tell he was uneasy about answering questions about other teams, about like that. But I mean,
I wouldn't want to talk about it, because then you might. I mean, you're in the middle of it.
You don't want to mess up what your GM is doing.
I would just keep my mouth shut.
Well, you don't want to mess up what Ken is saying is, you don't want to mess up what your GM is doing, or you don't want to mess up potentially going to one of these teams by being negative about them. It's a fine line that you have to walk, like what you can say, and because Justin Fields is kind of in an unenviable position, because there's so much talk about him being traded, and it's like, so he has to walk that fine line. It's like, if he says nothing, then the media is going to come out and blast him like, oh, he's immature and he's not handling this the right way. He's not being professional. If he says something, then it's like, oh, if he says oh yeah, the Falcons have a decent team, like, oh, he wants to go to the Falcons. It's like, no matter what he says, the media is looking for a way to spin it, So,
and even minus the trade, you're not going to come out and say, well, yeah, they're a dog shit team, because you got to play them, right?
You don't want to give them bull.
But they tried doing that with Fields, because they said he unfollowed the Bears, but he's following the so-and-so from the Atlanta.
So, and they asked him about the players. He's like, a couple of these guys. He's like, this other guy, I just like the guy. I haven't really met him much, but I just like the guy, so I followed him. He's like, so his mentality, or their mentality as players to a certain degree, listening to that conversation yesterday we're having, is completely different than like us or our favorite guy in the back room who's, oh my God, You're like, I'm surprised he's not back there going, CJ Stroud's leaving Houston because he unfollowed the Houston yesterday on Instagram. No, man, the dude's going on vacation. He just doesn't want to see football in his feed. I mean, I get it. Players need a break, right? I mean, so it was funny to understand or see their mentality of how they perceive Instagram, for instance, compared to the media and everyone else who's like, he's almost like, kind of like, who are these guys who are even watching my account to see who I like? It's like, you could see in his head that the wheels are turning. Like, dude, these guys have like no life if they just care about who I follow and who I don't. You know,
hey,
like,
the only thing is that kind of fans the flames a little bit is how many times have we seen players go and scrub a team off their media to have some news come out like in the next couple of days. I can see where everybody's running with it, but you can't put so much faith in just unfollowing something.
What happened to mind your own fucking business, man? What the fuck happened to that? Just mind your
that died 10 years ago.
This is America, Rob. People love a good story.
What the fuck, bro?
I think though there's a difference. Like, okay, like we look at like Justin's case. Okay, he unfollowed the Bears. He also unfollowed the NFL. No one said anything about that. But he left his profile picture of him in a Bears uniform. Left the Chicago Bears quarterback. He didn't do a full scrub.
See, Derek Carr scrubbed when Derek Carr got benched for the Raiders. He scrubbed.
He did a full scrub.
He did a full scrub. Like, he left like a couple of pictures of him with teammates, but he scrubbed. Like, he even took off quarterback for the Oakland Raiders or quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders title, off his things. So,
just because they benched him.
And just changed it to quarterback. Yeah, when they benched him.
Wow.
On another quarterback note, I just wanted to throw this out there because I think it's hilarious. But Jimmy Garoppolo violated the league's substance abuse policy and got suspended for 2 games. I just want to say,
no way.
If what we saw last season was Jimmy on roids, oh my god.
Well, it wasn't that he used. It's a weird suspension, though, Rob. It broke like I want to say Monday or late last week that this happened. It was small.
I didn't hear nothing about it.
Yeah, it wasn't. There were only a few things out on it. It wasn't made into a big deal, but it has ramifications. They could actually void his contract over it. Because he's doing the rehab. The deal is he's doing the rehab from his injury, and it wasn't that the drug that he used was illegal for the NFL, but it had to be reported in a certain way, a certain time. Like, it's like, the checklist. There's certain things you had to do. Yeah. And he didn't do it, is what it came down to. So because it wasn't that he violated the substance abuse policy, he violated, I guess if you could say, like the structure of how he
violated a protocol.
But he violated the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances because obviously what he was taking is a performance-enhancing substance. However, there's what's called a therapeutic use exemption, and
he didn't file the paperwork.
Certain guys can get away with using like TRT or whatever, like if they have a medical reason for it. And so generally, now I'm speaking of this not from a football standpoint, but from an MMA standpoint, because MMA has I watch a lot of MMA, and there's a lot of there used to be a lot of TRT because guys had used steroids earlier in their career, and now their testosterone, once they get off the roids, their testosterone hits the depths of it's like, so they need testosterone replacement therapy, but it increases their testosterone to a place where it's like they're on roids again, and they're basically on roids. And so it was a big problem. Like with MMA, people were complaining about it. But the reason that now that some guys use steroids isn't for a competitive advantage, it's to rehab from an injury faster. And so I could definitely see where Jimmy might have taken a substance to heal from the injury faster, and he didn't get the therapeutic use exemption. And so now that's why he's not getting 6 games or a season, is because, he had a legit medical reason to do it, but he didn't go through the proper channels. Yeah. But my point is, My point is, if Jimmy used performance-enhancing substances last year, it sure didn't enhance his performance.
No,
like,
but the irony too about
the sad thing is that might have been him with enhanced performance.
That's what I'm saying. If that was Jimmy on roids, then I'm so glad we didn't get Jimmy off roids. Like,
but even more ironic,
we would have been 1-7 when Josh McDaniels got fired.
But it gave the Raiders an easy out because they can legit void his contract, avoid any dead cap. If they want to just get rid of Jimmy G, they can. They can.
Are you sure about that?
They don't want to do that. That'll look bad on the Raiders, man.
Well, I mean,
it's an oversight. It's an oversight, but it's a medical reason. You would look like an asshole if you did that.
Yeah, but there's been talk about them moving on from Jimmy G, anyways, because he's like, okay, great, I'm paying you all this money.
I can see them using this to push it over the top. I agree with you,
right?
There.
But now, if they want to get rid of him, it's cost free.
Well, he's gotten rid of. Like, at this point, he's a post June 1st cut for salary cap reasons. He's been gone. Jimmy has been gone since he got benched. Like, I have nothing bad other than his performance. I have nothing bad to say about Jimmy. He was a great teammate. He supported Aiden O'Connell. He did everything right. Yeah. But if I'm the Raiders GM, I have absolutely no problem being called an asshole and saving an extra $25 million in cap space. Like, you can call me an asshole all the way to the free agency market.
Well, Joe, I know he's leaving the team because he unfollowed you. So,
Well, hey, it is what it is. I just got to say, I was never really excited about having Jimmy as our starting quarterback to begin with. I mean, you can go back and look
I know you went out and bought the jersey the next day.
Actually, if I was going to buy the jersey, it would have been for my wife because she thinks he's just so handsome.
It's that Italian charm.
I mean, look, to be fair, Jimmy G as a career, he's been a good quarterback, very serviceable, wins games, right? Has the ability. His problem, unfortunately, is injury. He can't stay healthy.
Honestly, Ken, I'm going to have to push back on that. I think that Jimmy, his success has been directly tied. It's a product of Mike Shanahan's system and the players that he was surrounded with, because the second that he went to the Raiders, where he had a less talented team and less talented coaching, he dicked the dog, dude. And let's just be honest.
And by that time, by the time he got to the Raiders too, he's a little bit longer in the tooth. He's had a bunch of injuries. The talent level's less. I mean, he had, the tread wasn't.
He's a backup these days.
Yeah, and I mean, a good point, Ken. I definitely can understand that and agree with that. But let me ask you this: did you at any time last year watch Jimmy G and say that he wasn't washed? Like, was there any time where you watched him and was like, this guy still got something in the tank?
I was disappointed. I was cautiously optimistic when he went to the Raiders. But I was obviously cautiously optimistic. So I'm like, all right, is this guy going to be hurt? What's he got left? Because I mean, I knew he's a winner. He was winning for San Francisco. He put San Francisco in good positions. And then when he got there, I was like, he's getting paid for the past. This is not going to be a good contract, unfortunately, because I like Jimmy. I think Jimmy kind of didn't have the best career path, right? Being a backup for as many years as he was for Brady, and then finally getting paid. But even then, you always felt like someone's about to pull the rug out from under him.
Oakland, too, man, it's unbelievable, man.
So at first, you're like optimistic about it, and then you started to see like, okay, the injuries have taken their toll. The mental mindscape is taking its toll. This is not the Jimmy G we saw 5 years ago when he got to San Francisco. If we would have gotten that Jimmy G in Vegas, Vegas would be happy right now because he'd be a good quarterback.
But I knew Jimmy's physical limitations going in, and so I didn't think that it was going to be a good fit for our offense to begin with. And then, the money I wasn't too concerned about, and honestly, his character I'm not concerned about. I like Jimmy G as a person. Like, he's a good dude. He's a good football, a good football teammate. He's a good guy, a locker room guy. The only complaint I have is his football talent, and that happens to be a huge complaint. Like, it's kind of important if you're the starting quarterback. It's kind of important that you be good. And he's just not good anymore, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't make him a bad guy. Like, I wish him the best. I hope he goes somewhere and gets a backup contract somewhere, because he's probably not. I can't see him getting another starting contract.
Hey, what's your guys? Are you guys drafting a quarterback, man?
So right now, you've got $35 million in cap space. The Raiders do.
It's actually that's going up. That's it. I just read yesterday. It's actually like 50, 55 or 53. And then
everybody's getting 19 million more.
When we cut Jimmy, and then when we cut Hunter Renfrow, we can get up to 70.
When you cut Jimmy, wow. When you cut Jimmy,
that's a lot of money, bro. You guys can do
June
a lot.
1st. Check this out. If they cut Jimmy post June 1st, his dead cap becomes 4.2 million, but he frees up 24 million in cap space.
God damn.
So right now, just knowing that, you're at basically.
That's why Joe's for certain they're cutting them.
Yeah, you're at 60 million. And
I mean, like 4 million to 24 million. I mean, do the math. Holy shit.
And obviously they're not going to do. I mean, Adams would give you 24 million dead cap if you cut him, for example. Same with Max Crosby, right? So those guys obviously, and they're not going to cut them anyways. But I'm just saying,
yeah, they're not cutting those guys.
By in comparison, so dude, you've got like 24 million in quarterback money coming back. Hello, Kirk Cousins, how you doing?
No, he doesn't like Cousins either.
So, I mean, what would you
I don't want Kirk Cousins. I don't want Kirk Cousins. I would like Baker Mayfield. Honestly, like what would be ideal, I think, would be like to take Baker Mayfield, and then if you still want to draft a quarterback, take a guy like Bo Nix or Michael Penix later and in the draft, like in the second round or something. If Bo Nix goes that far, if not, take Penix. Let him sit behind Baker Mayfield, you know. If you don't want to go quarterback, like if you trust Baker and then you trust Aiden O'Connell as your backup, which I would be perfectly fine with that too. I think Aiden is a serviceable backup. I think he's actually he would be a really good backup, you know, not a great starting quarterback, but a really good backup. He is a guy that if Baker was to go down for 2 or 3 games, he could come in and possibly go 2-1, you know, like he can hold the ship until he can hold it. He can manage it until Baker gets back, you know.
Actually, it was crazy to me. You know what I mean? Joe, you know, he made this proposal to me. It was pretty crazy. He wanted to trade Max Crosby for Sean Clifford. You know what I mean? So, man, you know.
Dude, I don't know how many times I have to tell you.
That's going to be a rough one to let Clifford go, but you know what? I think
I gotta tell you.
Yeah, you're right. It might have to be Max Crosby and Devontae Adams. You know what I mean?
That sounds.
While we're at it, we might as well throw our whole defensive line in there too. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I like our defensive line.
Just to sweeten the pot a little bit
we
for
just
you.
Want Crosby, bro. We just want
Dude,
Crosby.
hey, let me tell you. Let me just make this clear. The Raiders wouldn't trade Max Crosby for your firstborn, dude. Like, it wouldn't
I wouldn't trade him either if we had
maybe
him.
a cigar.
I mean, and here's the thing about Max Crosby though too. Like, you know, I'm old enough, Joe's old enough, Rob's old enough, Ken, you might be old enough. Isaac, I think you're probably old. We remember the old Raider motif, right? Give us your rejects, give us your troublemakers. Give us your
the bad boys of the NFL.
Give me the misfits and just win, baby. And Max Crosby, dude, like, okay, when he was at NFL Honors, the dude wore a blazer with no shirt, just so he could show nothing but tattoos, like he just walked out of San Quentin, right? And got tattooed up when he was at the point. I mean,
and you're talking about Max Crosby in Green Bay. That's Raider to the fucking bone, dude.
Dude, that dude believes
Max Crosby is a Raider for life, dude. Like, he's already signed the contract in blood, dude.
In blood. That's it. He's done.
Max is a Raider for life. And I think we learned our lesson from the Khalil Mack trade, honestly. Like, you don't trade a generational talent in their prime for whatever you get. Whatever you get is not going to be as good. It's like that Family Guy where it's like, you know, you can take the boat or you can take the mystery box. Well, what's in the mystery box? Well, it could be a boat.
Mystery box. I might have a boat. Yeah,
it could be a boat. You know, it's like, so it's like, no, we'll just go ahead and keep the boat now. You know? The last time the Raiders won anything, Jesus was inscribing on stones inside caves.
You know, no. Like, to be fair though, Joe, I mean, look, if it wasn't for the Gruden emails, that hurt the Raiders. That set the Raiders back 2 years. Easily 2 years, because they made the trade. Gruden was building, and he was building something good, and then, you know, the email gate, whatever you want to call it, came out, and then, you know, he has to leave the team. The only reason the team keeps winning is like the only person who understood that offense was Carr, right? Because him and Gruden were like, "Hey, Dad, hey, son," kind of relationship. But I mean, you could see it, and the Raiders were going places, and then that happened. They got set back 2 years, at least 2 years, and now Pierce is there, and Pierce, as a player, didn't get to be a Raider, but the dude's another guy whose soul was signed away to the Raiders when he was a kid, and he's a Raider. And you've got Max Crosby, who's most definitely a Raider. And what I don't get with the whole Raider lineage, we have all these misfits, guys like that, and then we have Howie Long, who's like Mr. Nice Guy. Look at my sketchers.
He wasn't Mr. Nice Guy when he played, though, bro. Come on.
Hey,
no, he wasn't.
No, you're right. Howie Long doesn't conventionally fit like what the Raiders have traditionally done. However, you don't play for the Raiders. You don't play for the Raiders as long as Howie Long did and not have some Raider in you, dude. Like, so Howie Long, he might be Mr. Nice Guy on TV and shit, but if you meet Howie Long in a dark alley, he will kick the living shit out of you. Let me just tell you that.
The thing about the Raiders and their whole
have a military buzz cut for no reason.
That's the greatest thing that NFL ever gave the Raiders was the autumn win.
He doesn't have a military buzz cut for no reason.
Yeah.
There's the thing the Raiders need, though. I think even with quarterback, I think Garoppolo was too. I want a Hostetler. I want a Hostetler back with the Raiders because here's a dude got his hand stepped on not once, not twice, but 3 times. Twice, blood's pouring out of the hand, and he's slinging the rock like it's nothing. Like I want Hostetler. I like Gannon as a quarterback. I hate him as an announcer and a radio host.
Bill.
Bill Romanowski, dude.
Actually, Ultimate Raider is the best.
He was the Raider of Raiders, dude. Like we measure all Raiders against Bill Romanowski.
If you want to talk about the Ultimate Raider, you got to go Sebastian Janikowski.
Seabass, baby.
There's no better Raider than
or what about Lyle Alzado, dude?
That's a good
Alzado.
Oh,
was
3 miles
in the NFL. There was only one place in the NFL that Lyle Alzado could have a successful career, and that's with the Raiders, dude. Like,
yep. Or who's
Joe.
that?
Joe,
and you gotta admit we gotta put Woodson in there. You know what I mean? Like Woodson.
Oh yeah, Woodson was a hitter. But hey, Joe, I got something that I know you would like. I actually have a Seabass signed helmet.
Nice.
And Seabass doesn't sign often. He's one of those guys. I think he's done like 2 signings since he left the NFL. But I have I made a point. I saw, oh my God, Seabass. There's a Seabass.
Yeah, I like Seabass is a Raider great, man. He was
a linebacker masquerading as a kicker.
Yeah, he's beloved by Raider Nation, dude. Like, we love Seabass, not just for his on the field stuff, but for his off the field stuff.
And I'm sure Joe heard about this, but Raiders were actually, if John Gruden dropped his lawsuit, they were kind of going to reconcile with him, kind of like.
So if he drops his lawsuit, the NFL is willing to allow him to coach again. I don't think the Raiders will rehire him because they have AP now.
Yeah.
But he's in the job somewhere else, and I honestly think that it's the fair thing to do because that whole thing, like, I don't agree with what he wrote in the emails. I just want to make it clear. Yeah. But he wasn't an employee of the NFL at the time, and he was, to me, it just felt like he was the scapegoat. Like the NFL knew that there was a lot of shit in those emails that shouldn't get out, and so they sort of sacrificed Gruden in order to close the investigation and be like, "Oh, this is what we found. Here you go." And so now that's why Gruden is not settling the lawsuit, is because he's like, no, I want you to go in there. I want to see all the emails. I want the discovery because he's, he knows that this stuff could get Roger Goodell in a lot of trouble, Yeah.
Well, and with the email thing too, look, first off, he didn't send emails, he received them. That was, he received emails and he opened them. Okay. Well, he replied to them. Okay. But once again, he wasn't even an employee of the NFL at point. And then even if he was, who cares? It's an email of a bunch of men. And they may be talking poorly and stuff it's stuff none of them would probably ever say in public. But if it's like something that's between like the 5 of us in the back, dude, we say stuff all the time that probably wouldn't be fit for public consumption, right?
Yeah.
Guys are gonna do that, and to think that women don't do that, well, they do.
Yeah, it's just the era.
It's the era of if you even think it, you must be fired and you must lose your job.
it's the cancel culture era. You know what I mean?
You know, the thing that really bothered me about the whole Gruden email thing was the level of pearl clutching, dude. Like, let's be honest, because that thing went in stages. First, Gruden, you know, he had the quote unquote racist email about the dude from the NFLPA, right? And so that was like a thing, and all of a sudden it was like it's causing problems with his players, this and that. But he didn't get actually forced to resign until it came out that he called Roger Goodell the F word, right?
Yeah.
And you know the F word that I'm talking about. But I think in the context of society now, that word doesn't have the same meaning that it had 40 years ago. Like, how many of us use that word to describe an annoying person rather than a homosexual person, right?
Right.
Like and that's, to me, was the level of pearl clutching where it was like, he called Roger Goodell a faggot. Oh no, like he's so homophobic and stuff. It's like, no, dude, plenty of us have called somebody a faggot before. And we're not talking. The dude's not even a homosexual. We're not talking about.
I just call.
I'm pretty sure 10-year-olds on the playground talk worse.
Yeah.
Has anybody here played Call of Duty online with a 10-year-old?
Right?
I mean,
you would think that your mom is doing all kinds of horrible things behind dumpsters at Wendy's.
I mean, look, Chucky, if you're watching our show, and I know Chucky's probably watching. Okay, I love Chucky. Chucky, if you watch next time you want to call Roger Goodell a name, just say, yeah, he's such a Nick Green. And then everyone will get it.
No, it was just this, like Joe said, it was a common term in the 90s. Like, we used to all call each other that, you know what I mean? And we didn't think nothing of it. But now the cancel culture is around. Now you can't really say anything about that.
You have a whole generation that decided that the vernacular that the baby boomers and Gen Xers using was wrong, and they should all be forced out of their jobs because of the vernacular we used 2 decades ago. It's like, you know what was vernacularly acceptable 2 decades ago or even a decade ago may be different than what is now, but you can't punish someone for saying something that was socially accepted 20 years ago because you've decided that it's not socially acceptable now.
And I just want to point out that when he said that was actually a decade ago, over a decade. Yeah. So it's like, at the time, it was culturally relevant, or culturally, I won't say acceptable, but it wasn't the taboo thing that it is now.
Hey, Nick, we don't care about your feelings, dude. You should know that by now.
Well, Nick is football. Nick is a bleeding heart liberal.
Hey, Nick, which computer does it hurt? I know you got 4 of them.
You got 4 of them.
I mean,
at heart, Nick is a liberal at heart. He can't wait to vote for Biden again. So
I mean, this is football.
See, there it is. We were talking about this yesterday. Or talking about it earlier.
This is football, not feelings. I think Ben Shapiro, they should just mass market his facts don't care about feelings sweatshirt to the NFL, because this is football, not feelings. And even with the NFL, you start seeing, they hit them too hard. And
you're gonna say,
can you imagine
for the rest?
Can you imagine, like, this is why most like football players only mic'd up like partially of the time. You can imagine what's said on the field and inside the locker rooms. You know what I mean? It's fucking.
Oh, they're talking about mamas, and they're talking about.
There's all kinds of stuff. I mean, you should have heard that. Like, just listen to the St. Browns yesterday with Justin, the language being used, even like, this is not meant for. Unfortunately, it's like, okay, you're the St. Browns, and you have the biggest name being talked about in the NFL on your podcast. This is probably going to be your biggest show of the year. The language they use, the way they talk to each other is like, okay, then. I mean, I'm down with it, but
on podcasts, it's more like barbershop talk. You know what I mean? Barbershop talk, anything goes, basically.
But like Nick is probably going, oh my gosh, my feelings. I mean, the words are, oh my God, they used that word. I was Nick, it was hilarious.
Well, Nick has a third nipple, so.
Nick, I don't know if you guys know this, but Nick and I are very good friends. Nick also has a cry pillow, so.
He does, bro.
Is that the same as his other pillow?
No, his Rogers pillow he wouldn't cry in.
But it's funny because, like, even with
his Rogers pillow got retired. Now it's a Jordan Love pillow.
Oh,
I mean, not to cross.
Don't get a black light on that
about the NHL, but like even look at how with this whole with us trying not to be too political in that, but look, it even affected the NHL. I mean, my wife, dude, you should see my wife. When we go to a hockey game, she's there for fights. And if good hockey's played, cool. But she wants to see a fight. So we have a developmental league here in Pensacola. The second you think they're going to throw gloves down, the rest, no, you can't do it. And my wife's sitting there yelling, I want to see blood. Rip his head. I turn my wife, oh my God. I love this woman. But that's a problem. Like, sports has gotten so PC, you can't fight because it's toxic masculinity. Bullshit, it's a hockey game. Let them throw gloves. It's a football game. Let them hit their heads off. Like, with a big, what gets fans going? A big open field hit where a guy gets leveled. I mean, otherwise we must. My wife is funny. She's yelling at the refs. Hey, refs, this is hockey, not Disney on Ice. My wife is going at it, right? But the NFL is the same way now. It's like Disney on turf. Because Ken
the Bear fan is like looking at her. He's like, I want to see blood. And he looks back, and she has a machete in her hand. I want to see.
Well, dude, it's funny you should mention that. My wife is Puerto Rican and grew up on the island, so you know what she was given as a kid, right?
Oh, machete.
Yeah. In fact, our daughter was given a machete as a gift a couple Christmases ago. So yes,
Ken's wife has a machete on the nightstand next to the bed. Dude, I know how the Puerto Ricans get down. They're like Filipinos. My wife is a Filipino and she's from Batangas. They're like the best blade makers in the world, dude. Like it's well known that they're like the best knife makers. And so, my wife is handy with a blade, dude. Like
she got a shank.
She's made it clear to me, like, you won't even feel it slip between the ribs, dude. Like,
dude, my house.
You ever go anywhere else, like you're not gonna survive to tell about it.
She got a lipstick, but instead of the lipstick, is a shank.
It's like a little butterfly knife. It's like,
yeah. I mean, look at my house is the wrong house to mess around with because we have the his and her dual ARs ready to go. And my son, we took my son shooting. We started him off at 22. Dude's proficient. We have a AR 2215. So it's 22, but it's AR style, right? Yep. It's an AR-15 style weapon. And he's proficient. I mean, he's got the target on his bedroom wall, where it's like that the center is just 8 out, and it's like, so I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'll grab that. And like, you try to come to our house, you have a virtual firing squad that's deadly proficient with an AR or any kind of weapon.
I was going to say, not only do you have that, but you have the training to use it and to teach everybody else to use it proficiently.
It's already set fire. I'm just trying to drop off cookies, man.
I want my dream weapon. I want my collection is a Barrett. Barrett 50. Because my
old man used to have a single shot 50.
Dude, the Barrett 50 has an effective range of 5 miles. Okay.
What do you need something like that for?
Well,
in case you got to shoot something in the next town over, or if you got to hit something behind something.
It's for when you want it. It's for when you need to kill not just the burglar, but everybody behind him.
Hey, listen, Kat, eventually you will beat Green Bay. You don't have to resort to that.
So, I mean,
hey, I thought about that with Urlacher.
So look at that's not obviously it's not a close combat weapon. That's one of those. Oh, I want to stop your car a mile down the road before it can even get close to my house, kind of thing. I'm just gonna pop your engine block.
It's nice to have dreams,
That's
like I always wanted the Heckler and Koch MP5.
Yeah, that's when you want to shoot through the guy, shoot through the dog, and then drop your car engine.
Because it has
I made
sure. Switch.
I made sure both my ARs are NATO spec, so I can fire 5.56 or 2.23. So my Go mags are 5.56.
Oh no,
homie, don't play.
My dream weapon to own, and I've always seen it, is Dragunov sniper rifle. That sniper rifle is beautiful.
Poor Nick.
Nick's hearing all this gun talk, and he's like,
Nick. Trust me.
Nick is like, let me get this straight. We went from it's the NFL to guns to knives. Yeah. Yes, sir. Because you know what? Here's the thing, though. Back in the day, though, like when you talk about old school Raiders players, you guaranteed they were strapped. They probably had a blade on them. I mean,
the black hole. The black hole.
I don't think it's just old school Raiders players. I think Raiders players now are strapped. Are you going to sit here and tell me Max Crosby doesn't have an AR somewhere in his house?
I
guarantee he does. And no, the thing about Max Crosby is, the thing about Crosby is when you're a millionaire like he is, you can probably get guns that the rest of us can't get. You know what I mean?
Max Crosby has a lock and a sock. That's all he needs.
I guarantee, because like living in Florida, anyone can get these weapons with a Class A license.
That's
I guarantee you, the dude's got a saw. He probably has a Browning 50 cal. Because look, if I could afford the Browning 50, I would have to be an NFL player. It was a M249 squad automatic weapon saw. You can buy one for about $250K. An M2 Browning though is probably going to cost you $500,000.
Yeah,
for an M2 Browning. I guarantee you, Max Crosby has he has a house. Yeah, he has a little cupola on the top of his house. And if you go up there, the gun's not there, but he's probably got the tripod for his 50 cal sitting there, where he can just pick up his 50 cal and plop it in a pop and go, yep, 360 degree to security. I'm ready to go.
Before the main members got arrested or sent to jail or most of them passed away, the Hells Angels used to sit in the front row of the Raiders black hole, and all of them are strapped getting by security.
There's got to be some metal detectors at the stadium. Come on, man.
Back then there wasn't no metal
detectors. The Hells Angels member.
There it is, but that's why they leave the guns in the car so that when you get back out to the parking lot, you can get them.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, today, I was a season ticket holder in Oakland. Do you think that there was never shootings in Oakland?
I guarantee it.
There was.
I don't think 72-year-old grandpa with a flashlight is going to stop a Raider or a Hell Angel member.
And Nicholas just told us all exactly why Utah has no professional football team.
Exactly.
No way, Nick. Mormons have guns in their Jerry curl hats.
I mean, it's funny though. You look at the state of the NFL with the state of how, this is the first time. The NFL got very political over the last 5-6 years, and unfortunately, the Army, and they were like the Army. Like the Army was always apolitical. The military, we were apolitical, and then Milley made the military political. So there's a lot of discontent in the military right now because it's become very politicized, like everything else has. And the NFL fell in the same trap as the United States military, unfortunately. These were two great organizations that were always apolitical, but then got political, and it's hurt them all. I mean, the only organization that really didn't get political was the NHL. They've been the least political of the sports organizations.
They've got some stuff that's leaked in over the past.
They have, but they haven't. Even when it came to the Pride jerseys, they didn't mandate it. They said if you want to wear the Pride jersey, the warm up jersey, you don't have to. Some of the groups of people, as Dave Chappelle would say, the all the different letters, they got upset, but the league didn't find people. So the NHL, they've been the least political. I think they've enjoyed the most success. I think the NFL got overly politicized, and then you lost some of the best talent you've had. Because I'm sorry, Gruden was probably one of the best coaching minds in the NFL since Madden. Oh yeah, who also happened to be a Raider. But I mean, Gruden, Gruden just the dude is just. I mean, I love Chucky, and he looks like Chucky walking up and down the sideline.
Really
anyway,
does like Chucky.
Yeah, I like Gruden too. Hey, Ken, do you still have that graphic with the linebackers, the free agent linebackers?
Yep. We do, but we only got about 7 minutes left.
I wanted to look at it again.
Yeah, we can get into that for about the next few minutes before we gotta get off, and then tomorrow for Friday, I guess will be Linebacker Friday. But there are the free agent linebackers, Joe. What do you want to talk about?
Man, I want Devin White so bad.
Yeah, you and me both.
Man.
Well, I know one guy that can't go play for the Raiders because they won't have a queen on the Raiders. All right, I've been.
How is Bobby Wagner on here? Look how old that dude is. How is he still on this list?
He's a freak athlete.
He's
his numbers from last year, they're still outstanding.
I know, but he's at that age where one day it's just going to all collapse.
I wouldn't mind, honestly, if we could get Patrick Queen. That would be nice. But I would take Devin White too. I really like Devin White.
Yeah, no.
Doesn't Bobby Wagner though feel like a fit for the Raiders? Because Wagner has that attitude that you know what I mean.
Coming from the league,
I don't want him.
Yeah,
he does, and you know, like he's still. I mean, look at his numbers, like 183 tackles. Like that's ridiculous, dude.
He doesn't.
But I don't want to spend the money on a 33-year-old linebacker when you could get a guy like Devin White who's 26. You know, or Patrick Queen who's 24. Like, get somebody that you can have in the building for a while.
Yeah, you know who Bobby Wagner reminds me of is James Harrison. You know, that guy is just a beast and keeps pumping, and like he just looks like
the longevity aspect of him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at guys like Levante David and Bobby Wagner. Look at obviously those guys are long in the tooth, 33 and 34 years. They can still bring it. Those are the type of guys who will sign with a team like a San Francisco if they had the need, or a Kansas City, or a Baltimore, or any of those top end teams that are in the hunt, right now in that window, but they need that. They're missing that linebacker. These are 1 year go in, win a Super Bowl. Like Keith Richards when he played for the Blackhawks, due to the end of his NHL career, right? He was long in the tooth. He still had it, and he could do something for a cup contending team. Signs a contract with the Blackhawks, wins a cup, immediately retires. That's what these guys are kind of like. These are the guys that they've got 1 or 2 years they know left, but they're still producing at that high level. They're going to go they need to go to a Super Bowl contending team. This is their last shot. They're not going to go sign with Cleveland. They're not going to go sign with Atlanta. They're not going to go sign with these are guys that are going to like Miami or Houston, who's up and coming, could be in a window now. They're not going to Arizona. They're not going to any of those places. They're going to a team that's ready to win today.
Yeah. Honestly, so those two guys, I could see one of those guys, either Wagner or Levante David, going to the 49ers, because the 49ers, like, I know they have Greenlaw and Fred Warner, but Greenlaw got injured at a very inopportune time, and it really cost them. So I think one of those guys would be willing to go and back up Greenlaw for less money just for the chance to win a ring,
Yeah,
well, it's going to be 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah, Bobby. I was going to say Bobby Wagner. You got to chop off his leg to stop playing football. That guy just keeps turning.
I mean, these are the guys that are probably going to have, a 2-year deal.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are. But but that's why a guy like Bobby Wagner can make sense, or Levante David, because it's going to be a 2-year, right? But it's not going to be big money, and only the 1 year is going to be guaranteed, and then the second year is going to be another $10 million or so, but a team option or something like that. I mean, that's what these guys are doing. Like, because could Wagner play 2 more years? Yeah. So if he goes to the Niners on a cap-friendly deal to win a Super Bowl, which he might do, because at this point he's like, I just want the ring. And if cap-friendly for him is $7 million, he probably does it with an option for year 2 at say $13 million. And if he plays really good and they win a Super Bowl, they might exercise the option, give him the $13 million as kind of reward, and try to go back to back. So I mean, these old guys. That's what that's going to be. A guy like Queen, a guy like White, Shahir Lavu. They're going to go to like the Raiders, the Bears, the Packers. Teams that are just entering the window or looking to build.
Here's another thing you get with Bobby Wagner. You get leadership. That guy really changes the culture in any defense that he touches. Like, you can see what he did with the Rams. You can see, back when he was with Seattle, he's that guy that just really sets the tone. And like any team would be lucky to get him, honestly.
Hey,
even with
Nick brought up a good point about the 49ers Super Bowl window may have closed depending on what they do with their cap situation. I know that Ayuk has been less than pleased, less than happy lately. There's actually been speculation. He grew up a Raider fan, and he's from the Reno area, and so there's been speculation that he kind of wants to go to the Raiders, and he's a free agent. I believe he's a free agent. So that would be interesting, because if the Niners lose Ayuk, I mean, they still have weapons, but they're not the same Niners,
Hey, guys,
we're a big part of what they did last year.
Hey, guys, not to cut off the conversation. We're right up on our hard time. We'll pick this back up tomorrow. Linebackers, Raiders, Niners. We'll pick this up. Great discussion. Look, we didn't even need our slides till the very end. Good discussion, guys. Everyone, we'll see you back here tomorrow. The advertisement for all the other shows, I think. Oh, that's the outro. We're doing the intro. Make sure you catch House Hall on Saturday. Make sure you catch Frozen Tundra on Saturday. But we'll see you all back here tomorrow. Gentlemen, thank you for being on today. For Ken and Ken, peace. And
he has time. He's got left side. Dodge is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.